So today I will talk about the role of science from the perspective responsible science for a responsible society. To discuss the role of science in modern society in limited time available, it is necessary to limit the discussion only to a certain aspect of the role that science has, as it is practically ubiquitous in today's world. This is, among others, reflected in modern technological achievements, as well as in the quality of relations in the society and indirectly in the level of democracy development. Therefore, it is necessary to think about the importance of the responsibility of science to society, to relations in society, and future technological developments. The tremendous scientific achievements of the last decades and consequently rapid technological development has been seen in the eyes of many as the solution for providing a better life for the individual and the way to a more humane society as a whole. The development of internet that significantly increased the communication capabilities of individuals, and later on the emergence of social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and the like, have also promised positive changes in the area of greater social engagement of individuals and achieving a higher level of democracy, leading to a more humane, social, and human-friendly society. It seems that such expectation passivated those stakeholders in the society which would be the most responsible for such a development, as it looks like they understood that this would happen automatically, together with the development of the technology. Global trends of recent years, which are manifested mainly in the rise of populism, nationalism, violence, and extremism, and their tendency to dominate individual societies, are pushing the development of democracies in a world in the completely different directions, where ignorance is gaining value and is being put on an equal footing with the science, and with this legitimizes its place in the society. The continuous crisis is becoming a constant in modern society. The crisis seems to have become a way of life, the only way to mobilize the masses so that they do not become entirely apathetic in comfort brought by modern technological development. It also seems that modern technological development contributes to the ongoing deepening of the crisis, or at least makes it easier to create the perception of crisis needed to achieve the goals of individual interest groups in society, and does not lead to long-term elimination of the crisis and to building a society based on sound democratic principles and key societal values such as equality, justice, freedom, fairness, and the rule of law. At the first glance, such developments in modern society could be surprising. Still, when analyzing contemporary social phenomena, it is vital to keep in mind that modern technology, internet, communication platforms, has enabled much more straightforward access of individuals to society and more significant potential direct influence of individuals on the community as has been possible in the past. Decrease in the level of commitment of society to fundamental, sustainable social values that we have witnessed in recent years, inappropriate patterns of behavior of prominent representatives of social life, misuse of modern communication technologies for spreading the ideas of extremism, nationalism, hatred, and intolerance especially among vulnerable and disadvantaged groups in society. And through this, the achievement of a disproportionately large influence in society, along with the indifferent passivity of the majority, satisfied with a relatively favorable economic position, results in more and more worrying trends in the society, especially with the fact that nothing is given or granted in advance. Nothing is permanent unless it is followed by the constant efforts of all the members of the society to protect what has been achieved and preserve the fundamental values of modern democratic society. The achievements and benefits of today's modern society are based on knowledge, scientific achievements, and basic democratic values. Their endangerment or denial threatens the fundamental achievements of modern society and takes us back to the history of what has been already seen. Nowadays, the achievements of modern technologies, cultivated consumer mentality, legitimization of ignorance, pouring prevalence of incompetence, ignorance of scientific facts, and denial of reality, more than ever in recent history, call for the urgent repositioning of the Enlightenment mindset in modern society. The university should be able to see further and remember longer, and be the first to be aware of the long-term consequences of individual actions and technological developments. Therefore, the role of universities as crucial bearers of knowledge and science in society must urgently change in today's society. In order for universities to be able to actively co-create modern society, their current role and place in society are no longer enough. Universities must, to a greater extent, take on the role of a critical assessor of social events, actively draw attention to inappropriate directions of development in society, and above all, insist on preserving and respecting the fundamental values of a modern democratic society and the rule of law. This also poses to them a challenge of greater social responsibility, self-criticism, personal responsibility, constant concern for maintaining high moral norms and ethical standards, and zero tolerance for inappropriate patterns of behavior and any forms of violence and intolerance. It is therefore worth recalling at this point an important period in European history, the period of the Enlightenment, led by the understanding of the dangers and pitfalls of such development of society. As a distinctly social, philosophical, and artistic movement roughly classified in the 18th century, the Enlightenment represented, from a philosophical point of view, a stream of thought characterized by a belief in progress that could be achieved by reason. Perhaps ironically, universities, as it seems, again need to take on the role and responsibility in the society that they had centuries ago, the role of enlightener. Industry 4.0, the fifth generation of mobile communications, artificial intelligence, the autonomy of devices and vehicles, bring to tremendous development opportunities for the future. Still, at the same time, more than ever, they raise a number of new issues that address far more areas of human life than in any period so far and will affect each of us. New questions, however, do not open up so much in the field of technology, but are much more economical, sociological, psychological, legal, etc. All this raises an entirely new set of problems and, above all, responsibility for universities and science, which is much broader than ever before. Modern science addresses the key problems of today's world. With the results achieved, it also intervenes more deeply in the daily life of the individual and society. It changes the patterns of behavior and way of life and influences the fundamental values on which the functioning of society is based. This shows the power that modern science has in today's society and consequently sets out the responsibility of science to the community. Continued strengthening of confidence in knowledge and science is crucial for the successful development of contemporary society, which has proved especially important during the epidemic of COVID-19 and in the efforts of the scientific community around the world to provide solutions that will enable humanity to overcome the outbreak as soon as possible. The achievements, which would otherwise have taken a decade or more, were thus carried out within a year. For the first time in the history of mankind, science has succeeded in developing a vaccine in such a short time since the outbreak of the epidemic, and with its help significantly shortening the duration of the epidemic and thus considerably reducing the number of victims. At the same time, the extremely rapid development also raised doubts about the safety of the implemented solution and provided fertile ground for many conspiracy theories, all of which also influenced people's thinking and actions and decisions, which are crucial for overcoming the coming situation. In the last 2 years, the COVID-19 epidemic has revealed many, in normal circumstances, unexposed issues and dilemmas of today's society, which are mainly related to the responsibilities and rights of the individual to society and responsibilities and rights of society to the individual. This is therefore a fundamental social relationship between the individual and the community. It seems that it is becoming increasingly difficult for the individual and the community to agree on the rights and responsibilities that somebody has. On the other hand, we know pretty clearly, at least theoretically, that there must be some reciprocity between rights and responsibilities. In fact, interdependence. To simplify, by being responsible, I deserve rights. That is why awareness of the responsibility of science to society is all the more important, and we can sum up it in the words of François Rabelais. Knowledge without conscience is devastating to the soul. On the one hand, this means the need for responsible science that adheres to higher ethical standards of research, and on the other hand, the necessity of trust in science, which is the driving force behind the development of the modern world. On the other hand, the epidemic has also revealed the fragility of trust in science, which can quickly become alienated due to its complexity and too often to complicated messages to the lay public. This is especially evident at the current corona crisis and can be recognized through anti-vaccination movement, ignoring scientific evidence, unwillingness to accept scientific arguments, and denial of requested behavior. The picture that can be seen very clearly in Europe shows that the level of such behavior is largely correlated with the trust in state institutions, government, and the level of development of democracy in individual countries. Nevertheless, it is the responsibility of science to respond also to such phenomena and to strengthen the culture of trust in science through appropriate communication. Rapid technological development alone does not guarantee prosperity and justice. So a critical and self-critical approach in science is necessary. Given the growing complexity of problems that modern science addresses, it is essential to assure an interdisciplinary approach to address the issues comprehensively. More than ever before, the achievements of science in the field of autonomous vehicles, further robotization of production processes, and artificial intelligence will change the way of life and profoundly affect the labor market. Due to the achievements of science and developed technologies, many professions will become redundant, as the level of intellectual routine, which will represent the entry threshold into the labor market, will increase significantly. Not only will autonomous vehicles largely make the profession of driver unnecessary, but artificial intelligence systems will also make it possible to automate individual business processes, which today require a highly skilled workforce. The rapid development of technological solutions in this area require accelerated research in solving societal problems, which will inevitably appear due to the introduction of these technologies into everyday life. Therefore, through interdisciplinary integration, it is crucial that science comprehensively addresses the complex issues of social development brought about by increasingly advanced technological solutions. It is therefore essential to provide responsible science for a responsible society.